Good evening, everyone. Welcome on the second day of workshop on Tableau. I hope you enjoyed the yesterday's session. It's a desktop training. And again, today we have with us Rahul Tiwari. So without taking much time, I would request to Rahul, please start the session.
All right, so welcome to the session, guys. And as per today's schedule, we'll talk about one of the interesting concepts, which is known as aggregation and granularity. And this is important because everything works on those lines. Also, we are going to talk about different types of filters which we can apply so that user can able to have a chance to play around with the data. They can select the filter, they can select the values which they are looking for, and so on. So here is the business problem which we have, and while solving this problem, we'll understand about these concepts. So you have been hired by the government of India as a Tableau developer. Your first assignment is to deliver an analysis with area chart, which will help in showing the unemployment across different age groups. Also help them to navigate the charts using different filters. It's a small problem, but during we'll solve this. During that, we'll learn lot many stuffs which are very important for us to know. The data set which we have is age, gender, period, and unemployed. Age is like a categorical data, it's a category. Then we have gender, which is again a category. Then we have period, which is again a category, which is like a time dimension. And unemployed. And this unemployed is basically a numerical data measure. Now I'll connect this data set. This is an Excel file. So I'll go to Tableau and I'll connect to the data. I'll go to this Microsoft Excel because that is my source. And I'll go to the location where the file is. Where the file is present. So here the file is present is so here is my file, long-term unemployment statistics. And we have age, gender, period, and unemployed. Once I connect to this file, you can see that again we have three main types of dimensions today, which is, or I can say data types today, which is a string, which is a date dimension, which is the measure, which is number, integer or float, right? And if you remember in the last session, we discussed about there are 5 types of data types. And again, we are still looking for 2 more types of data types, which we'll see, I think, mostly in the tomorrow's session. But as of now, we have this data. I connected to this data and I come to sheet 1. Now, if I go back to the business problem, they are looking for an area chart showing the unemployment across the different age groups. Now, if I go to area chart here in the show me, when I hover, you can see that it is saying that one date dimension is required, zero or more dimensions are required, one or more measures are required. So one date dimension is there with us, so I can use that. So I will drag this period. You can see I have the years 2005, 2006 till 2015, and we have unemployed. I'll drag it here. I'll get a line chart. Before I create the area chart, as of now, I want to talk about this date dimension. If I click on this drop down, you can see that we are getting various options: year, quarter, month, day, more. Again, we have year, quarter, month, week number, day, and more. Right. So now question arises why we are getting these two options. Why we have 2 months? Why we have 2 quarters? Why we have 2 week numbers? Or I can say why we have 2 days, like that, right? So why this option and why this option is with us? Now that is again an important concept. Suppose I am selecting the above month. How many years are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years are there. When I click on the above month, you can see that January, February, March, April, May, June till December coming in. It is not considering year, which means what? The value of this January is basically the sum of all the Januaries. Value of this February is sum of all the Februaries, like that. So it is not considering year, but it is aggregating all the values of Januaries together, Februaries together, March together, and so on. So when I am not interested in the year, but I am interested in the pattern over the period of months, then I can go for this chart, the above month, this month. But if I go to below month, then what will happen? Then it will give me a proper timeline. January 2005 till December 2005. Then again January 2006 till December 2006, and so on. Right? So that is the difference. So in the first option, we are not considering any year. It is showing me all the data by month wise. But when we are selecting the below month, then it is considering year as well. And you can see that the color also changed. When I click on this month, it is becoming blue color. This cell is becoming blue color. And when I'm selecting this below month, it is becoming green color. Basically, blue is nothing but the discrete value, and the green is nothing but the continuous value. It's a continuous. You can see here, continuous measure. When I click on the this month, it will become a discrete. Now I am going with a month which is like the below month, because obviously I want to see the data across the period of time. Every month, what things are, what is the trend over the period of time. And as per the business requirement, they are saying that they want with the age group also. So I have this age group and I will drag it in color. I have 7 age groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 age groups. And that is what we are seeing here. But if you see there are 7 age groups, that is fine. But you can see that here that it is not looking good, right? If you see at the very start, there are a lot many zigzags. Like I can see a lot many clutter here at the start. I'm not understanding like how things are, which particular age group is moving up and which one is going down. It's difficult for me to understand. So in case of this, I will go with show me and click on this area chart. There are two types of area chart. One is for the discrete dates, second is for the continuous dates. And we are dealing with continuous dates here because we are considering year also. So what I'll do is now I'll go ahead and click on this and you can see that the area chart is created, which is much better than what I got in the line chart. If you see, this is my line chart, and if you see, this is my area chart. This is far better as compared to my line chart. So when we have to show the data over the period of time and we have more number of categories also, we prefer to go with the area chart. Now question arises, let me remove this age, right? Now if someone will ask you at what level this chart is, like I am able to see what data, which data, like at what level I am able to see data. I can say that I am able to see the data at the month and year level. My data is at month and year level. And when I drag this gender in the color, now my data is what? My data is at the month, year, and gender level. And when I drag this age also, now my data is at what level? My data is at month, year, gender, and age level. That means, can I say all the dimensions are there in the chart? Date is also there in the chart, age is also there in the chart, and gender is also there in the chart. If all are there in the chart, that means each dot is one row. This is showing me the data for the age of 25 to 34 years of age, which are men. For May 2010, the value is 10,000. Sorry, 10 lakhs 11,000. That is one record because all the dimensions are there in the chart. So if you go down here, you can see that there are 1697 marks. At the bottom left, you can see that there is written 1697 marks. That means in this chart, there are 1697 points. And as I mentioned that all the dimensions are there in this chart, there should be 1697 rows in the data also. You can see that we have 1697 rows in the data also. That means each dot is one row. Now from there, something comes in my mind that, okay, that is good. Let's say I have a data at the India level. Okay, I have a data at the India level. In India, let's say there are multiple states. In that state, that let's say there are multiple cities. In that cities, let's say there are multiple sectors. Okay. Now, what aggregation and granularity means? I am at one state. Let's say what is the population of that state? Let's say it is X. In that state, there are multiple cities. Now, the population of this city should definitely be less than X. Let's say it is 1 by 2x. In that city, let's say there are multiple sectors. The population of the sector is definitely less than this population. Let's say it is 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 of x. That is, let's say 2 by 4. Sorry, 1 by 4 of x. 1 by 4 of x. Right? So from here, what we are understanding, when I am at the India level, the population is x. When I am going deeper into the data, that means when I am increasing the granularity, that means from India level, I am going to the sector level. My value of x is decreasing. For example, let's say in India, the population is, let's say, 1,000, for example, just a simple number. I'm going to one state, let's say Haryana. In that Haryana state, we have, all right. So in Haryana, we have, let's say in India, the population is 1,000. Let's say in India, as the population is 1,000, let's say I'm going to one state, let's say Haryana. The population is obviously less than 1,000. Let's say the population is 450. Let's say in Haryana, we have Gurgaon city. So the population is, let's say 2,000, 200, sorry. In that, we have sector 70A. The population is, let's say 100. So what's happening here? When I'm going deeper into the data, the number is decreasing, which logically makes sense. If I'm talking about the whole population, it will be bigger than a smaller set of population. If I go to one society of this, it will be further reduced. If I go to one house of this, it will be further reduced. So when I'm going deeper into the data, that means when I'm increasing the granularity, the aggregated value is decreasing, right? If I say what is the population of India, it is 4,000. Let's say. What is the population of Gurgaon? It will be less, let's say 2,000. So when I'm going and increasing the granularity, I'm going deeper into the data. Deeper into the data means I'm actually increasing the granularity. This aggregated value is decreasing, right? And that is obviously make sense because And one more thing here is that each chart can have different types of granularity. For example, let's say I am creating another sheet. Here I have date, let's say at the month level. I have age and I have unemployed. This is one chart which is showing me the data at the age level, month level, and date year level. Let's say here the chart which I am getting is at the gender level, right? Here the chart is at month, year, and gender. So I can have a chart with multiple levels in multiple sheets, which makes sense. Because if I am going with the same level of granularity, it will be a redundant data. So as my granularity is increasing, the aggregated value is decreasing. Again, I'll give you one more example. Let's say here is my data. Here is my data. So if I say what is the sales of India, the sales of India is this. If I say what is the sales of Maharashtra, the sales of Maharashtra is this two value. If I say what is the sales of a customer, I'll have this record. So basically, I'm going deeper into the data. Once I'm going deeper into the data, the aggregated value is decreasing. So it's a inverse relation. When I'm going deeper, my aggregation value is going to decrease. Or I can say when I increase the granularity, my aggregation value is decreasing. And each sheet can have different relation basically. Now, if I go back to the business problem, I have to create a chart at the age level. Here is the age, and I'll go and create the area chart. I can drag this age in the label also so that I'll get all the ages. Here you can see that in the blue color the age is not coming because of the space, because you can see it's very less space we have and we cannot get that font. But apart from that, we are getting all the ages. I can give some borders so that it will be further enhanced. Now business comes in and says that, okay, I want to see only one data. I want to see only genders data. Let's say I want to see only men's data. So I will drag this gender in the filter and I will select men and click OK. Now the data which you are seeing actually is a men's data. Suppose I want to change this from men, I edit the filter and I will select woman. It will give me women's data. But here I have to do manually, right? I have to click here, I have to edit and all those things. I don't want that. I want the user to click. I'll go and give them one option of show filter. And you'll get this option here. You want all data? Here is the all data. If you want the men's data, here is the men's data. If you want the women's data, here is the women's data. I can change the filter, single value list. I can choose one value at a time. I can give the drop down. You can have a drop down. I can have a single value slider. I can have a slider. I can change to multiple value list, which is the by default which you will get. Multiple value drop down, you can select multiple values from this drop down. And then you'll have some more options. Multiple value custom list, you can type this. So suppose I'm interested in female or woman, right? It was woman. So W O, automatically it will come. M, you can see that I'm clicking on woman, it will give me that data. I can have a wildcard match. I'll write okay data like W. It will give me all women's data. Right? So in my value, if W is present, it will show me all that. Suppose I don't want this all. I just want men and women. I don't want this all option. I'll go ahead, click on the customize and uncheck this show all. The all option is no longer there. So this way I can give user an option to actually set the filter, select the filter, I can say. Same way I can drag the age also. You'll get the options. When I drag the period, now I can apply multiple filters. Suppose I'm dragging the age also, right? I click OK. I click on the drop down show filter. You can see that I'm getting that option also. So suppose I'm saying I'm interested in women with the age of 32, 30, 35 to 45, 44 years because I have a job opening and I want to target these women to come to my company. So I can select that and this is the data which I have. No, means whatever analysis you want, you can check that. If you have women employee level data also, we can get into that level also. Let me remove this filter. I don't want this. Let me remove this filter. I don't want this. Now I have this period. Period is a date dimension, and when we have a date dimension, the filter is of different. The behavior of the filter is different because it's a date dimension. I will drag this period in the filter. You can see that the options which we are getting is different. The option which we are getting is relative date, range of dates, year, quarter, month, day, week number, weekdays, month. A lot of options are there. I click on first of all the relative date. Now here I can fix one date. Relative to which date? You want to see the data relative to which date? My data is still 2015 only. So I can set one date. Let's say I set a date of 2013 1st November. Now I set that date and I will get that data from, like, here you can see anchor date. It will give me that data only. It will give me that data only. 1st November 2000, because it is saying that anchor date. You can change that. Let's say I'm looking for previous, or I can say next month, or I can say next 3 months. So it will give me next 3 months data from this anchor date, which is 1st November 2013. I am getting next 3 months of data. And it will give you an idea also that from which data to which data they are actually showing me. It's from 1/11/2013 to 31st 1/2014. 3 months data. I can go to quarters, I can go to years, I can go to weeks, whatever level you want to see, you can able to go that. So that is the very first option which you will get when I'm dragging the period in the filter, that is a relative date. Second option which you are getting is range of dates. You can select, let's say I click OK and I click on show filter and I can change. Click on this, you can choose the date, click on this, you can choose the date, or you can use the slider to change the date, right? I can select my range of dates. As a user, I can very well change and show the certain period of time. I can have starting date where my end date is fixed. This end date is fixed. So you can see that this end date cannot be changed, but my start date can very well change. I can very well change the start date, but end date I cannot change. End date. Now my start date is fixed. My end date can change. My start date is fixed. You can see that it is fixed. My end date can very well change. And the special date. If there is a null dates in your data set, I don't have any null dates, but suppose there is null values in the data set, it can show that. If I want only non-null dates, it will show that. If I want both null as well as not null dates, it will show me that also. As of now in my data set, there are no null dates. So it will give me all the dates which I have in my data set. If I go back to the period filter, you can see some more option, year. So it will give me an opportunity to select the years only. If I click on this show filter, you can see that I'm getting an opportunity to select the years which I'm interested in. Only the years. Suppose I'm dragging this period filter again and selecting the months. So I'm getting the opportunity to select the years as well as month. You can see here. I'll just drag this filter below. This is my year and this is my month. Now I can select, let's say I'm interested in only January, February for these years. I'm getting that. Right? January, February, then again January, February, then again January, February, and so on. So I can select the year also, I can select the month also side by side. Suppose I want year month together, I will drag the period filter again and you can see that there is an option of month/year. Here I'll get all the options month and year together. You can see here January 2005, then I'm interested in January 2006, then I'm interested in January 2007, like that. So here month and year are coming together. One more interesting thing here is that, again, you can see how powerful this software is. If you see in this data set, if I go to my data, you can see that for year 2015, I have only January and February data. I don't have March data, I don't have August data and whatever. I don't have any data for that. I only have 2 months in 2015. But for other years, I have all the 12 months. So my requirement is that, let's say I drag the period filter. I'll select this year as a filter. and I drag this period filter again, and this time I'll select the month, and let me show the filter. My requirement is that if I select 2015, it as of now it is showing me January, February, March, right? But I know that when I actually select March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and so on, it will not give me any data because I don't have data for 2015 for these months. I have only January and February for 2015. Then why this unnecessary options coming in? These options should come in 2014, which is perfectly fine. This option should come in 2013, that is perfectly fine. But in 2015, I should not get these months as an option because in 2015 I have only 2 months, that is January and February. So I'll go to the month, click on this drop down and click on this only relevant values. And now you can see that it is showing me only January and February for 2015. If I uncheck this 2015 and select 2014, I will get all the months option. When I am selecting again 2015, you can see that I am getting only 2 months option. So it is dynamically checking which all values are relevant to which all other values. It will show me that. For example, let's say I am the manager of furniture department. In furniture, we have chairs, tables, and whatever. Same way, there is another department called technology, where we have a TV, we have fridge, we have computers. Now, suppose I am selecting furniture, then in the subcategory, only these options should come. These options should not make any sense, right? So I will apply that only relevant option so that when I select furniture as an option, only these subcategories will be part of the sub filter, the second filter basically. These values will not come because I asked for only relevant values. And that is the benefit. Just a click and we are done. So that is about the month filter. And again, I can say the date filter, which is again very powerful option. Now question arises, what will happen when I will drag a measure which is unemployed in the filter? How it will behave? I will drag this unemployed in the filter. You can see that again here I am getting the different options all together, which is all values, sum, average, median, and so on. Let me go ahead and select all values. Now here I am getting 9,000 and 10 lakh 11,000 in the all values. Now what is this 9,000? What is this 10 lakh 11,000? It is nothing but the minimum value of my data and the maximum value of my data. If you see here, what is the minimum value? 9,000. What is the maximum value? 10 lakh 11,000. So this is showing me the minimum and the maximum value. If you see, at least this value is fixed. I cannot change that. Only I can change this value. If I go to at most, this value is fixed and I have option of change this value. I have the option of changing this value. Special dates, again, special value, null value, not null value, and all values. If I drag this unemployed again, and this time I will select sum, the value which we are getting is 38,000 and 16 lakhs 42,000. Now it is not showing me 9,000 and 10 lakh 11,000. It is showing me something else. Now, what is this 38,000 and 16 lakhs 42,000? What is the granularity of my data? Granularity of my data is at the month, year, and age level. I am doing sum. When I am doing sum, that means I am actually doing the sum at the month, year, and age level. So there is one age group with a particular month and a particular year where the value is 30,000, 38,000. Let me select this value. Let me go to this value and click OK. For the month of January 2005, 16 to 19 years, the unemployment was 38,000. For the February 2005, 65 years and above, the unemployment was 38,000. So basically in 2005 only, in January, 16 to 19 years, and in 2005 only, February, 65 and over. Let's see that. In the month of 2005, January and February, for 16 to 19 years and 65 years. So you can see that for 16 to 19 years, 38,000. Only woman is there, men is not there. And for February, again, this is 38,000 for men, right? So if I'll select only January, let's see what happens. You can see I'm getting 16 to 19 years, 38,000. Let me go to the maximum value. Let me go ahead and check the maximum value. Edit. Let me select the 16 lakhs 42,000. Click OK. For May 2010, 25 to 34 years. For May 2010, 25 to 34 years. You can see that the sum is what? 1 lakh, 10 lakh, 16,000, 64, whatever it is, right? 16 lakhs 42,000. That is what we are getting here, right? 16 lakh 42,000, which is nothing but the sum of the sum of the unemployment based on the month, year, and age. I am not considering gender separately because my granularity is not at the gender level. That is why we are getting only, like, we are considering only month, year, and age. Gender we are not segregating because my granularity of the chart is month, year, and age level. So it is summing up at that level. So when I drag the sum, it will do at the granularity of the chart, that is month, year, and age. Same way average, median, and so on, right? All those will work on that lines. So that is how we can apply these filters and call those filters in the sheet so that user can have the option to play around with those filters directly. And this type of filter is known as normal filters. This is again obviously very much be used for interactivity. And that is how we solved this particular business problem, where we understood that how aggregation and granularity works. We created the area chart. We understood how the different charts working, different filters working on the chart. Now let's start with another business problem. So here we'll talk about some more stuffs about Tableau. You have been hired by a supermarket in Europe as a Tableau developer. Your first assignment is to deliver a dashboard with a map view. Now we are going to encounter first time the geo dimension today. In the map view, I want to show the profit margin and a scatter plot which has details about customers, which will help business to find the profitable customers by state using action filter. Also help business to educate what is the difference between action filter and highlighting. Now here the data set which we have is again in Excel file. If you see here, we have two files, list of orders and order breakdown. If you see in the list of orders, we have order ID, date of joining, we have customer name, city, country, region, segment, and other details as well. And when I go to the second table, order breakdown, you can see the sales details and other details. Now what I'm looking for is that I want to connect this to data because there are two files, right? Now I want to connect this data with the list of orders data. The common column which I have, the common column which I have is order ID. So I will join these two data set in Tableau. So I'll go to Tableau and connect the Excel file. So I'll connect to Excel. Now here I have two sources. One is the list of orders, which is giving me all the details about the customers. I click on this drop down and click on open and I will drag this order breakdown. And I did the join on the two tables. Just a drag and done. There are four types of joins: inner join, left outer join, right outer join, full outer join. We'll discuss that once we'll start talking about data blending. If you guys not aware of that, we'll discuss about that. But as of now, just as a layman, I will say that inner join means I am joining the data from one table to another table. The common records will participate. I am joining on the order ID, so common records will participate. Now I joined the data. My data is with us. Now you can see this. You can see this globe for the very first time. Here is the globe, which is nothing but the geo dimension, geographic dimension, which will help us to create the maps. I go to sheet 1. The very first chart which I have to create is the map view, which will show me the profit margin. Now, profit margin is not there in my data set. Profit margin is, let's say, profit by sales, something like that. I'll create a calculated field, profit margin, and I'll give, let's say, sum of profit divided by sum of sales. That is my profit margin. I will drag this state. You can see that the map is coming in. This data is for the Europe. And I will drag this profit margin in the color. And now you can see that I'm getting the profit margin by different states. The oranges, or I can say the brown ones, are nothing but the negative profit margin. And the blue ones are the positive profit margin. So this is my map chart showing me profit margin by different states. You can see that this latitude and longitude, this will come by default with the data. You can see here. When there is a geographic dimension in the data set, automatically this latitude and longitude comes in by default. Which helps me to create the chart. My longitude will always be in the columns. My latitude should always be in the rows. If you swap this, it will not create a map chart. Suppose I swap this, it is not giving me the map chart. So my latitude will always be in the rows and longitude will always be in the columns. I can make this map beautiful by, let's say, you can see this lot many land, right, which is of different countries, and I don't want this grayish area. I click on the map options, oh sorry, map layers, and I will wash out the layer. You can see that now the map which we are getting is only for that location. Rest all is gone. Now I will create one more chart which will give me as per the requirement. It's saying that create a scatter plot which will show the detail about the customer. Now to create a scatter plot, we require, if you hover here, we require two or more measures. Now I will drag profit and I will drag sales. This is my scatter plot with single dot because as of now there is no dimension. I will drag customer name in the details. Now this is my customer names. You can see here, these are my customer names showing me in the dots. I will drag this profit margin in the color. So these guys are like negative profit margin. These guys are like positive profit margin. I can change the shape. Let's say I want it as circle. I'll increase the size a bit, maybe reduce the opacity. You can see that the scatter plot is created. This scatter plot is showing me the profit margin by different customers. Now I have two charts. One is map, second is this scatter plot. Now what I want is I want both the charts in a single page. That means I want to create a dashboard. So I will create one dashboard. You can click on this new dashboard. You can drag the map and you can drag the scatter plot. Maybe you can put it side by side. That's also fine. Let me increase the size, make it automatic. So you can see that this is my scatter plot. Now what I'm looking for is when I click on any of the states, this chart should change. It will show me the data for that state only. So I go to dashboard actions, add filter. When I click on sheet 1, my sheet 2 should change on select. Click OK, click OK, and now you can see that my scatter plot is changing based on whatever states I am selecting. I selected this France, this big state. You can see that the data which I have is for that state. I can do like this also. Let's say I click on this customer, it should change this chart. It should help me understand that this customer purchased the product from which all locations. I can do the action again from here, but I can do action from here also. Drop down, use as filter. I am saying that use this particular sheet as filter. I click on this, and now when I click on this customer, you can see that it is changing the other map, which is helping me understand that this guy actually purchased the product from these states from the location, all locations. He purchased the product from these states. So that is my action filter. That means it is increasing my interactivity of the dashboard. When I click on one map, and again, if I have multiple charts in the data in the dashboard, I can do with all the charts. There is no restriction to that. So it is making things interactive for me. It will help me to get deeper into the data set. I can talk to the data basically. Now there is one more concept of highlight, action highlight. Let me go ahead and actions and remove this first of all. There is an option of action highlight. I click on this highlight and click on, let's say, sheet 1 and sheet 2 on select. When I click on this, you can see that nothing is changing here. Why? Because action highlight, the purpose of action highlight is that when I click on any state, it should show me the data for that state and it should show me the data for other states as well. Basically, whichever state I am selecting, the data for that state should be highlighted. Rest all the data will be suppressed. Now here I am not filtering the data. That means I need all the data. But suppose customer is purchasing a product from multiple locations, then Tableau is getting confused. Because let's say, for example, this guy purchased the product from multiple locations. So when I am selecting this state, he must have purchased the product from this state, but he purchased the product from other states as well. And that is the reason it is actually not able to show anything in the scatter plot. So for that, I have to add state also in this scatter plot. So now when I select this, you can see that there is only one customer. When I select more, you can see it is getting highlighted. So when you want to apply the action highlight, the granularity of both the charts should be same. Then only it will work. If this chart is at the state level, I have to put state in this chart also. So it will highlight that data. When you go to the actions, for example, highlight, you can see hover. I don't have to select, it will, when you hover, it will change. I don't have to select also. If I go further, I select menu. When I click, nothing is happening till the time I select this highlight one. When I select that highlight one, then only the changes will apply. Same way with the action filter also. For example, I go to action filter. Let's say I want to click on sheet 1, sheet 2. On select, we already saw. Let me go to hover. You can see I am just hovering and the chart is changing. Same way, let's say I go to menu. When I click, nothing will change till the time I click on filter 1. And then we are done. So basically, two options are there. One is action filter, second is action highlight. Action filter is helping me to filter out the data. Whatever we are selecting, it should show me that data only. Rest all will be filtered out. In action highlight, whatever I am selecting, it should show me that data, but at the same time, the other data should be at the back end. Like it should able to see, like it will be like in lighter color. So we are not filtering out the data. That is why my granularity should be same in action highlight. But in action filter, if granularity is different, then also I am okay with that. So that is how we actually solve one more problem. We created the map view of profit margin. We created the map view at the state level. I can change that level to different other level also. For example, let's say I go to the map. I don't want state, I want country level. So my data is at the country level now. You can see Sweden is there, Norway is there, Finland is there, Denmark is there, United Kingdom is there. So it's at the country level. When I click on this plus, because now it's a hierarchy, country, state, city. Let me click on this plus. I have this state level data. When I click on this plus further, my data will be at the city level. So I can very well drill up, very well drill down. I can break this hierarchy as well. Right click, remove hierarchy. Now you can see I don't have any plus sign now. So if you want to go to the state level, you have to drag state manually. The purpose of hierarchy is that I can go up, go down at any point in time. So that is the best use of going up and down using hierarchy. Basically drilling up, drilling down. So to create the hierarchy, I can very well go ahead and right click. Let's say I'll go to country, right click, go to hierarchy, create hierarchy. You can give any name, let's say geo. And then I will drag state below country, and then I will drag city below state. Now hierarchy is there. You can see that this plus sign was automatically come in because now it's a hierarchy. Right. So that is how hierarchy works. And again, this hierarchy can be made on different, what do you say, different uh, types of dimensions. For example, let's say I have a product. So product, then product category, then product subcategory, then manufacturer. I can have a proper hierarchy for that also. For example, if you see here, I have category, product name, subcategory. Let's say I'll drag sub. I can create hierarchy by dragging also. For example, I drag subcategory on top of category. You see, it is saying create hierarchy. So basically category and then subcategory. And then inside that I will have a product name also. So I got this hierarchy which has category, then subcategory, then the product name. So that is how we can drill up. That is how we can drill down. The purpose of hierarchy is to drill up and drill down. For example, let's say I drag the sales. It is showing me the sales of furniture, office supply, and technology. I can go drill down and I can see what is the breakup of that. I can further drill down and see what is the breakup of that as well. And that is how we can play around with the hierarchy, which is again very important concept. So today we discussed a lot of things. We spoke about aggregation and granularity. We spoke about filters, that is normal filters, how the dimension uses the filter, how the date dimension works as a filter, how the uh, measure acting as a filter. We discussed about the different dates, why we are getting the two options of year, month, and so on. When we are selecting the above date, if you remember, we have this date. So above part is the discrete, below part is the continuous. In the above part, year is not considered. If I am selecting month, it will give me January, all the Januaries together. In the below part, year is also considered. That is continuous dates. After that, in the second business problem, we saw how we can create a chart using maps. We had the geo dimension in the dataset. After that, we created the scatter plot where two numbers are required, profit and sales. And then we use the profit margin. We created a calculated feed and we created the scatter plot. After that, we created the dashboard, and in the dashboard, we discussed about the action filter and action highlights. In action filter, when I click on one chart, other chart will change. It will show me only that data. It will filter out rest of the data. In action highlight, when I click on one chart, other chart will only change when the granularity is same. And this is what we wanted to cover today. Any questions you can ask? And Shweta, I hand over it to you. Yeah, Shweta, I can speak.
Hello, Rahul sir.
I'm done. Any questions? Let me know.
हाँ सर देता हूँ सर. सर देखिए क्वेश्चन का ऑप्शन आ गया सर बाजू में आपके वहाँ पे. राहुल सर
Yeah.
देखिए वहाँ पर क्वेश्चन का ऑप्शन है, इसको क्लिक करेंगे सर आ जाएगा.
Is Tableau only visualization? Is Miracle or Tableau is for visualization? We can have some analytics, like we can do some predictive analytics as well by integrating with R or Tableau, R or Python. Difference between Tableau and Power BI already I mentioned in the last session. I think you were offline when you asked, Shweta. Main is the costing. Second, the quality of the visuals which Tableau provides is better as compared to Power BI. Connectivity wise, Power BI has less connections as compared to Tableau. I can connect to more number of data types, databases as compared to Tableau. Like in Tableau, sorry, as compared to Power BI. Earlier, when Tableau Power BI came in, so they only supported Microsoft databases, but now they are expanding. But cost-wise, Power BI is cheaper as compared to Tableau. But overall, for a longer duration, Tableau is more beneficial than Power BI. Market share of Tableau Power BI is almost the same. Microsoft has a little bit extra edge because of the reason that it's from Microsoft. So they are selling their AWS, Azure machines. With that, they are giving Power BI for free, but they charge some, what do you say, the services on the maintenance of the license. Some extensions which we have on Power BI, which is not there in Tableau. For example, let's say I want to create a Sankey chart. So in Power BI, it is easy to create, but in Tableau, we have to write some logic. But overall, quality wise, Tableau is better any day as compared to Power BI. All right. Okay. So thanks a lot, guys. And we'll see you again tomorrow.
Hello, am I audible, Rahul?
Yeah, Shweta.
Okay, sorry, I got disconnected due to the network, so I could talk.
Okay, no problem. So we are done for the day.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so thank you so much. The session was really excellent. Last minute पे मेरा थोड़ा सा disconnect हुआ, but definitely I'm sure participant must have enjoyed the session. Tomorrow again we will connect with a new topic. So thank you so much, Rahul and everyone. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye bye.